right, we good?
We're good. We don't have a starting quarterback yet.
Do you have a timetable? With that in mind, knowing that there's a three-man competition, what's the timetable?
We don't have a timetable, Nick, right now. It's, we're in a situation. In fact, Jim Zabrowski and I talked at about 7 a.m. this morning about what we were going to look at. We understand with the new receivers and the multiple on quarterbacks getting reps, we have to take everything into consideration, timing, understanding of offense, as well as we do the evaluation. Everything's being evaluated from one-on-one drills, 7-on-7, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah, we want to get there, obviously sooner than later, but we're not gonna set a deadline at this time.
How much more difficult is this process with the amount of new faces that these guys are trying to build some type of rapport with?
It's got some difficulty to it. I think we'd be kidding ourselves if we thought otherwise, but we've been through some of that before with newcomers and trying to get it all on target. They've had some time this summer. We'll keep working through it. We have to make sure that we keep emphasizing our strengths early on and things that we can do to try to make those things happen.
What did each quarterback do during the offseason that you saw, reflected on the field? Maybe the gains they've made, or
one day it's a lot. You can just tell again their confidence now that but it's just not a quarterback. It's all across the board. When you see guys continue to mature and gain confidence, when people that were older and ahead of them have left the program and moved on. So you can see them more comfortable taking charge, being a leader. You can tell they put some time in together, working out, but also in the film room. Matt Myers missed a lot of time in the spring, and that was unfortunate. So early on here in these first couple of days, we're trying to make up for some of that of some of his spring reps and try to give him a little bit of work. A little bit faster, and then the young quarterback Trevor Kaczynski showed some good things. He's got a very strong arm. So, again, I like where this position's at. We just got to figure out the order that it's going to be in.
How much of an advantage does Kyle have, having been here, having played a few games with experience? But with the changes, is that mitigated at all?
I think he is probably some advantage because he started a game and he's been thrown into the fire a little bit more when the game wasn't decided in his career. But I think Dominic Johnson's opportunities last year, his opportunities and experiences in the basketball program and being put in and with crowds and different things and atmospheres has helped his maturity. And I think when you watch Matt Myers, he's a guy that doesn't seem to get rattled about circumstances, and he's been in new situations in his career. So they all bring something to the table. That's why it's going to make it a difficult decision, but an exciting one.
The importance of your backfield, knowing the quarterback position is in flux. Marks, Patterson, you have some guys back there. You have some horses back there.
Yeah, we do. Those two guys highly productive last year. Really was pleased with the way Dylan McDuffie ended the season late last year. He's going to earn opportunities. We got to find ways to get those guys all on the field. Really like the depth that we have at the running back position and the experience that we have up front. And I don't think it's going to be a shocking thing to anyone that those are things that we're going to hang our hat on early in the year, try to establish a running game.
Defensively, you've got some holes to fill. Chuck Harris is not here. Khalil's obviously not here. Cam Lewis is in camp with the Bills. How do you kind of go about addressing those situations?
Well, I think some of the things that happened last year during the time is, unfortunately, there were times, much of the last half of the season, guys like Chuck weren't healthy. And Taylor Riggins stepped in and played a lot of football and played really, really well for us. I think he's going to be a guy. Malcolm Kuntz continues to get better, and Ladarius Mack has now really had a full season at the defensive end position and has put on some more weight. Friendy Derlis is a young man who's battled some injuries, put on the weight that we've asked him to, and he'll add depth there. So I feel good about where that defensive end position. Matt Otwinoski is one guy in the middle. James Patterson will play some in there as well. Tim Terry will flip-flop from both outside linebacker positions. And the guy that I think that's really, put his game in a position to be an impact player on our defense is Gaddafi Wright. And, again, late in the year last year, you could start seeing that confidence, take place for him, and it's starting to happen. Washington, played a lot when Cam was banged up. So, he's played some good football for us. And Devin Russell's back from injury, and Dev was leading the MAC in pass breakups after 4 games last year, and I think and then was injured in the Rutgers game and took the redshirt year. So, again, we have bodies. We got to keep them healthy. We got to keep developing.
Antonio Nunn, kind of that number 1 wide receiver. Thoughts on him?
Not just number-wise either, it's jersey number. But Antonio's a young man, and I kind of keep referring to back to late in the year, and that's what happens when you can play for a conference championship. You get the bowl practices. You really see guys almost kind of start turning towards that next season. Antonio had great bowl practices, really started to surface as a guy that we could rely on. He has shown flashes, and he's embraced the opportunity to be a leader in that receiving room.
You've got 3 junior college wide receivers who've transferred in. How much do you want them to kind of, develop quickly so they can contribute? They come in with the most experience behind Antonio.
Really want them to develop quickly, as well as our true freshmen. I mean, and that's the nature of that room right now. So the junior college players now, is that all going to happen? We have to wait and see. History will say no, that it usually doesn't. But as the season progresses, guys are going to learn and progress at different rates. We've had some true freshmen that we feel are very talented as well. And with the new redshirt rule, as we look at a whole at that receiver room, we'll decide how we'll use them, who may save a year, but most importantly, who's going to help us win a game. And the added thing to that is that we had talked to is Zach LaFave, and Zach is athletic and talented as a tight end. As the groups that have been here before him while we've been here, Matt Weiser, Mason Shrek, Tyler Mabry, he's got a real great tool set, and we've got to find a way to utilize him in the passing game.
Will Zach play some wide receiver?
I don't know. We were going to look at that early in the spring, but other things changed that. We'll use him in multiple areas, line him up, use his size. We'll see how it progresses. Probably the earlier questions about the receiver room will dictate how we use him and the others.
Nice to have 4 O-linemen back to pencil those guys right in.
Yeah, it's really across the board, it's probably as good as depth as I've been a part of in a long time. I think there's 4 that have started 10 or more games. The play of Jacob Gall last year really was unnoticed, but really played some good football for us. Mike Nowitzki, redshirt freshman from Victor, is a young man that we're excited about at the center position. And there's some others in there that have played some football. So, again, depth, rotations, keeping them fresh, hopefully being able to run the football in the 4th quarter when you need to is all going to be imperative for our success.
Is there any possibility with the quarterback competition that can go into the first game and be a rotation?
Yeah, anything's possible right now. I'm not taking anything off the board. I can't say that we sat there and talked about rotating or doing anything like that, but I'm also not going to discount anything. And again, as I referred earlier to our conversation that Jim Sprousky and I had was, I want the quarterbacks to understand that we are going to take our time with it, because there are going to be, ups and downs during camp. And I don't want them to feel like every single throw, every single session of practice might be the one that determines that they're not going to play. So it'll be, a body of work for each and every one that'll give us that best opportunity.
Thanks, Lance.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.